Raising a child with a disability presents families and professionals with many challenges. Today, one of the major challenges facing people who care for and about children and youth with disabilities is technology. What to get, where to get it, how to use it, how to pay for it, how to evaluate its effectiveness, and where to put it. Technology is receiving the attention of families, advocates, legislators, and professionals due to its potential for enhancing the lives of individuals with disabilities. From computers to communication devices to environmental controls, the world of technology offers many children and adolescents with disabilities the tools necessary to be more successful in school, at work, and at achieving independence in daily living. Indeed, opportunities not thought often years ago are now becoming available to some children with disabilities with the assistance of new technology, and rumors of emerging technology are raising new hopes. Technology is bursting into the classroom at all levels as a tool for professionals to develop, monitor, and provide instructions, and for students to access and engage in learning. PL 100-407, the Technology Related Assistance for Individuals with Disabilities Act of 1988, also known as the Tech Act, was designed to enhance the availability and quality of assistive technology or AT devices and services to all individuals and their families throughout the United States. Computers and other technologies have expanded and enriched lives and given many children with disabilities options not imagined 20 years ago. As there is a wide array of assistive technology, so too are there many decisions, choices, and options for families and professionals. Making informed decisions about technology is a challenge that many consumers will encounter in coming years. Walking the assistive technology maze can be made less complex and confusing by understanding the implications of technology in the lives of children and youth with disabilities and by knowing where to go for help. Looking at past development, we see a shift from the medical model to the social model. This has been identified as a paradigm shift from individual defect paradigm to a technology ecology paradigm. That is, there has been a shift from the patient failure to perform to individual malfunction to the fragmented system of resources, lack of access, and lack of fit. We have also seen a shift from the professional driven to consumer driven services. And one of the biggest changes has been in universal design. Universal design was first used in 1970 by architect Ronald Mace to refer to designing structures to avoid common barriers to people in wheelchairs. Stairs were replaced or supplemented with ramps. Doorways were made wide enough to permit wheelchairs to pass through, and restrooms were equipped with grab bars. Subsequently, the term has been applied to the design of electronic products such as consumer and consumer electronics. Here, the term is referred to use of product features that enhance the operation of the device by individuals with disabilities. Inclusion of such features during the design phase of a product increases the marketability to a larger population and avoids the often prohibitive cost of adapting the product to make it usable by people with disabilities. The appropriate product controls and informational displays are the features that most often can make a device usable by many people with disabilities. Selection of such components by product designers then becomes a demonstration of universal design. The next point, when we look at past development that comes forward, is professional development and endorsement of qualifications for the AT provider With the advent of managed care, tighter school budgets, and work efficacy, we are faced with shrinking resources and demands for documentation to provide that AT can make a difference. Converging with this issue was the need to define who we provide or who were and why we should be acknowledged as professionals and reimbursed for our services. Two areas now represent this trend: the trend to defining and managing outcomes data and the professionalization of AT providers towards credentialing, certificate of professionals, and accreditation programs providing AT services. Both these areas are expanding, and we can expect to see substantial growth in standards and benchmarks for AT, leading to useful and usable outcome measures and more programs built on standards for accreditation and staffed by credential personnel. With the passage of IDA 2004, Congress affirmed the strong emphasis in several areas originally made explicit in IDEA 97. First, there is the expectation that the academic progress of all students will continue to increase, and the progress will be measured through participation in statewide assessments so that the educational growth of all students is documented and schools are held accountable. As previously, parents are to be actively involved in the development of the education programs of their children. Schools and families working together are to have high expectations for the educational achievement of every student and plan educational programs that lead to the achievement of those expectations, underscoring congressional intent that every student has the opportunity to make progress in the general ed curriculum to the greatest extent possible. The IDEA 2004 included a mandate that states provide accessible textbooks and core instructional materials to students with disabilities in a timely manner. So, looking at the legal evolution of access to technology or instructional materials, we find that in 1975, the Education for All and Handicapped Act provided access to schools. IDEA 1990 provided access to classrooms. The amendments in 97 provided access to general education curriculum, and IDEA 2004 provided access to instructional materials. Because of what is now known about the positive impact that well selected and well integrated AT devices and services can have on the educational achievement of students with disabilities, Congress also strengthened the emphasis of AT devices and services in IDEA 1997 and affirmed that in IDEA 2004. Prior to the requirements that AT be considered during the development of the IEP for all students with disabilities in many parts of the country, either AT was not considered at all for many students with disabilities, or the responsibility for AT decision making was maintained by small district level expert teams. Because Congress intends that all students have the AT device and services that they require in order to benefit from their educational programs and participate in general education, IDEA 97 shifted the responsibility for AT decision making to the campus level, where it remains today, by including the requirement that each IEP team consider the student's possible need for AT as they develop the IEP. Each IEP team has the responsibility to determine whether the student can work toward mastery of the goals and objectives set forth in his or her education program in the least restrictive environment without AT devices and services, or whether AT devices and services are required for the student to progress appropriately and benefit from FAPE. In 2004, Congress added requirements regarding accessible instructional materials. Although IDEA 2004 continues to make it clear that members of the IEP team must consider the student's need for AT, There is nothing in the law that prescribes how this is supposed to be done. So the question that comes to the forefront is, why assistive technology? AT devices and services help individuals with special needs in various ways. They help them see, they could help them hear, they could help them communicate, play, remember. They could help them read, work with numbers, write, use a computer, and also study. So we see that assistive technology definitely has many advantages. In addition, assistive technology also promotes self-esteem, thereby improving quality of life. It increases productivity, it motivates the student to work, it enhances performance, and most importantly, it increases independence. How does IDEA define assistive technology? According to IDEA, an assistive technology device is any item, piece of equipment, or product that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. Following are some examples of assistive technology. So we find that there are some low-tech devices, some mid-tech, and some high-tech. In the low-tech devices includes pencil grips, adapted books, magnifiers, color coding, extra time, etc. Mid-tech devices include word processors, text-to-speech, calculators, digital recorders, adapted mouse, adapted toys, and so forth. And high-tech technology includes computers, smartphones, that would include iPads, PDAs, scanning access, voice recognition, environment control devices, and these are just to name a few. Assistive services, on the other hand, are any services that directly assist an individual with a disability in the selection, acquisition, or use of an assistive technology device, and these include the evaluation, providing devices, selection, customizing, adapting, and applying assistive technology solutions, coordinating assistive technology with other providers and services, and training and technical assistance to both the individual and families, and also training and technical assistance for professionals. Now let's spend a few minutes talking about the current trends in assistive technology and education. When we talk about assistive technology evaluation, the first thing that comes up front is the SET framework. The SET framework was developed by Joy Zabala as a way for school-based teams to focus their technology solutions for students with disabilities. The SET is not an evaluation process, but instead is a way to ensure that all the factors that lead to technology success are identified before a tool is put in place for a student. Therefore, for the following are the components of the SET framework. Prior to providing assistive technology to a student, the team must first gather information about the student, information about the customary environment in which the students spend their time, information about the tasks that are required for the student to be active participant in teaching and learning, and tools and devices that would help the student succeed. The premise of the SET framework, therefore, is that students' educational needs come first and technology tools come last. And therefore, the SET, where S is equal to student or skills, E is environment, T is task, and another T is tools. This slide talks about how tasks and tools work. The tasks, specific tasks in the student's natural environment that address the IEP goals and objectives, and specific tasks are required for active involvement in these environments. And the tools are the devices and services and strategies that are needed to help the student succeed. And the questions that one should ask is the student unlikely to make progress towards the goal without the AT device? If yes, a useful system of AT devices and services are to be thought of or brainstormed, and then you select the tool, and then you collect data on the effectiveness and revise the AT support plan appropriately. The next few slides basically provide some assistive technology solutions. They include the computer word processor with the operating system, and it also talks about the text to speech software. So, basically, giving you some examples. In this slide, you can find organizers, word predictions, word completion, speech to text. So, like you see, there is a lot available outside in terms of technology, and therefore it becomes critical for the team to figure out exactly what would work or what would not work for the student. This is just an example of resources listed on this website. So I would definitely recommend that you click on the website. Basically, if you click on the picture, you would be able to get linked to the resources. The other assistive technology solutions are access to the computer, and once again I've listed some here. Then another level of assistive technology are studying and organization skills, and once again these are a list of some tools that help students become independent. There's a lot of technology out there for recreation, which is basically allows sensory input, and they're basically sensory input or reinforcement devices. And here once again you'll find a link of some of these tools. Some more tools. In terms of communication, once again there are a lot of communication devices. Their specs, their communication boards, their leveled communicators, their mini speak systems, and so forth. These are just some assistive technology solutions for kids with autism. In terms of the future of assistive technology, it becomes very critical to think about what is the future of assistive technology in this fast-paced world. And we have to remember to improve student performance on a variety of technology and non-technology tools would be very critical. The tools are there, but how would the student be taught to use the tools would become very critical. A tool to lift students' educational and life expectations, built-in features, access for everyday technologies. In the future, we would like to prepare our students to advocate for their own accommodations in the digital world, and we would also should address student needs, which are the foundations for good AT implementation. So, therefore, we have to remember in this fast-paced world, there is always room for improvement, and we would have to always keep working on improving the system to help our students with disabilities become successful.